Hey everybody, welcome to GT Live. I am Brandon Jones, I am your host. Today we are playing Wolfenstein The Old Blood, being played right now for the first time by Michael Huber. We got the subtitles up. He can't hear the game, but he's going to go in. If you see red flashes on the screen, Mike, that means you're being shot at. Yeah. We are giving away codes for a game called Echo of Soul, which is an MMO. We're giving away 10 codes, and we're also giving away what they're calling a Founders Pack. So you won't only get a code for the game, you'll also get a bunch of cool items. So Mr. Brad Ellis is in the chat. Bradbot, I believe is your name, sir. So throw some questions at him. You can also throw some questions, if you would like. It's a good opportunity at our two fabulous guests, Mr. Stuttering Craig from ScrewAttack and the 2014 Call of Duty champion, Karen Jones.
Yep.
Just kidding. My mom, Karen Jones. Yay, my mom.
Who really matters.
On the GT Live stage.
Oh, it's a big deal.
Craig, you know, you don't live in Southern California.
Nope.
So it actually is a huge treat for you to come out here. But it's my mom.
Dude,
you know?
Are you kidding me? Like when you're like, hey, we want to be on the show today with my mom, I was like, first off, that's amazing. Second off, I don't know how I pale in comparison to Brandon Jones' mom. Are you kidding me? So
you do live in Southern California, and you are a fan of GT Live.
I am.
That's good.
I'm just wondering why I'm here. Is this a Mother's Day payback?
Mother's Day. I'm getting my Mother's Day shopping done early this year.
You?
Yeah, I'm taking care of it earlier in the week. We're having Mother's Day on Wednesday, but of course Mother's Day is this Sunday, so I thought it was an opportune time for you to come. But it's interesting. Also, I got to give a shout out to Mr. Chad James from ScrewAttack, who's also on the couch.
How's it going?
I asked for Craig. I got Chad and Craig.
He just follows me around.
We're just
everywhere
drenched in
Screw
ScrewAttack today.
Thank you for reminding me about Mother's Day, by the way.
Oh, no problem.
It's a big deal.
We'll remind you after the show, too.
Yeah,
I'll send you a text after the show.
Appreciate that.
And tomorrow. So it's interesting, Mom, because every now and then I'll tell you about things that I'm doing on game trailers, but like there's just a lot of stuff happening on game trailers. So like it's kind of tough to go. You got to do trailers, you got all your different shows. Just Kyle Bosman does stuff. It's kind of tough to really get the good Jones stuff. But you really like GT Live. This has really resonated with you, this show. You tune in every week. I get a nice text from you after the show's done. You're like, good show. You like Pamela Horton's episode.
Yeah, I thought that was the best show that you guys have done.
Everyone
really
likes
good.
Pamela Horton's episode.
Right?
Well, I love to see a woman who's bright and intelligent, beautiful, and she held her own. It was really great.
So, Craig.
Yes.
What's up with ScrewAttack, sir?
Oh, man, we've been busy. Been watching a lot of GT Live.
Right? Yeah, of course.
No. So yeah, we got SGC coming up this summer, which is good. We have, we've been kicking butt on YouTube, which has been really good. We got a brand new death battle that just was released. We had Lex Luthor.
Iron Man versus Lex Luthor.
This is going to sound really stupid because I'm not a comic book guy, right? I'm a wrestling guy. So for me, it's always been Lex Luger,
Right.
So I made the mistake at the office the other day going,
Every
it's
time.
Iron Man versus Lex Luger. And they just thought it was the funniest thing in the world. So it's Iron Man versus Lex Luthor in a beautiful 3D rendered fight. Which is really great, and we just always, we have something original every day. That's been our tagline forever. So, and I saw Avengers last night. So that's
well, there you go.
That's what ScrewAttack's been up to.
Well, it's just everything's a let. I mean, GT Live's got to be a letdown after Age of Ultron.
No, this is actually the high point right now. This is it.
So yeah, I actually was on your website today. I was hunting for some good Stuttering Craig pictures.
Yeah.
And I actually saw, I think it was like on your website, it says ScrewAttack Home of Death Battle.
Yeah.
And like caps,
Yeah,
it's just like, before we can do lots of stuff, but before you do anything, make sure to check out Death Battle. Is that like a huge initiative for you guys?
Yeah, people like Death Battle. It's crazy. They like the animation of the fight, and really, I think they like to complain about Death Battle more than anything. They like the idea of Death Battle and the idea that we're pitting two pop culture icons against each other, but they hate when their favorite character loses. So then they like to complain about it. So yeah, I'd say that's like, that's a good portion of our traffic. Obviously, people still come for the top 10s and the other stuff that we do. But
that's why you do top 10s too, is to upset people.
Really, yeah.
Get arguments going.
There's so much fun, so much fun attached to any top 10. Really, that's our entire production schedule is built around just upsetting people and pissing people off. So we learned early on that if you just piss people off every single episode, they'll eventually come back and complain. So
you do a really good job at that, Craig. I gotta just put it out there.
I am the ultimate the internet instigator. It's outstanding.
So, Mom.
Yes, Brandon.
You don't play games that much.
Do they know what you used to be called?
Well, yes.
I don't. What is this?
I'm sorry. Jeez. Okay, so it begins.
Can I call you Mom?
Yeah, you sure can.
Awesome, excellent. All right. So, Mom, what did Brandon used to be called?
Brandon was called BJ.
Oh, well,
because they
tossing softballs now. This is
Right.
great.
my brother thought Brandon was too sophisticated for him, that he needed to be called BJ.
He's too sophisticated.
Couldn't spell it, couldn't say it. I was a little behind in my education.
Really?
I think I didn't really take to the word, and my late uncle coined that one.
Wait, so you didn't take to the word Brandon?
I guess not. No, it just wasn't my cup of tea. And
Wow,
then
that's awesome.
I made the change when I went to college. So it's really interesting that I was actually at Dice this year, and I was telling Andrea Renee the story. I was like, because she has all sorts of crazy nicknames, Andy and other stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, well whenever someone says BJ, I know that like, oh whoa, that's a deep cut. That goes way back. That's somebody I've known before college. And I went to a party that night, and a friend of mine from high school was was a waitress there.
Oh, that's
so I just
funny.
like serving drinks. I'm like, BJ, what?
That's funny. I had my high school nickname. My last name's Skistimus, so Skistimus is hard to say, so people shortened it to Skits. So whenever I hear skits, that's like, whoa, you're from my past, It's one of those things where like, that's a separate part of my life, I don't like to think back about high school anymore. So that's funny. So BJ, huh?
Yeah.
That's great. That's your new name. Congratulations.
Yeah, and whenever I went to basketball camp and I introduced myself, the older guys were giggling, and I was like, I wonder what they're laughing at.
So
it's just my name, and didn't really know until it was later, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should switch to Brandon.
I know that we're going to do the question and answer segment later on, and I just want to implore the lovely viewers that listen. There better not be a damn question sent mine or Brandon's way. Every question better go to Mom over here,
No.
and they better all be about BJ over here. I'm just saying.
Well, you're ready. I mean, you opened with the nickname right out of the bat.
Yeah, well-
like before we did anything, you're like, okay, before we talk about anything games related, do they know your nickname from back in the day?
I told you that the only time I wanted to be appearing with you is if you were to do a movie and I wanted to be the bag lady sitting on the corner. I never envisioned myself doing this.
Well,
I'm not.
I haven't broken into Hollywood yet, Mom.
Okay.
I'm still. It's a slow journey. Craig and I are climbing up the ladder. We're doing the best that we can.
So the role is still available.
It's
if
still available, of course.
Okay.
I'm
and-
making a short film. You can be the bag lady in that if you
Oh,
want.
good. I've done a bag lady and a few skits.
We have a costume department here at
Do you?
Defy. There's, I think, right down the hallway there. If you want to go try some stuff on. When we do, we roll a trailer halfway through the show. Maybe we can step
Okay,
out. We have a
okay.
minute and a half,
All
but
right,
maybe we can
all
find
right.
something. So what do you think of games? I mean, what do you think of the games industry? Is it something I always notice, Mom? E3's coming up in June, and I always get such a high off of E3. And then I come crashing down on like Thursday night when the convention doors close, and I check like CNN or the PBS NewsHour, any like mainstream news outlets, and nobody's talking about video games. So
Yeah.
so when do you hear about games other than me? Like, does it ever come at you?
From my generation,
Or just games now? Like, do you notice when you see video game commercials, or does
You know,
anything leave an impression on you?
I do. I just think that I've passed the age of being able to really play video games. I mean, I come from the Pac-Man, generation. I mean, to me, that was just huge. It was something that was geared towards women. They had the cute little ghosts,
Miss Pac-Man,
and you
yeah.
could, you could chase and everything. So that was the precursor to, any of the chase scenes in video games. But I was saying earlier, I really think that video gamers, obviously are very bright.
Clearly.
And
Scoring points tonight.
Yep,
I'll tell you
ding,
what.
ding.
no. But I mean, to me, they're bright in the sense of like people that play the game of chess, because you have to think, 2, 3, 4 moves ahead. And my brain doesn't do that. I can chase, but my brain doesn't do that. And I think video gamers are even brighter than chess players because they got to do it fast. They have to do it quickly, So I'm in awe. I really am in awe. I wish I could do that. But
I mean, there's still. There's stuff. I mean, there's pro gamers. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
That's like the the Olympics of video games. But like even fighting games, I can't. It's just not my genre because I'm not that fast.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we were talking about fighting games in general, and like I'm a huge Street Fighter fan, and there's the elements of Street Fighter 4 and now Mortal Kombat X, the things that they've included in the game that take them past. Okay, I'm Ryu and I throw fireballs, and you have to jump over them. Like it's gone so far past that now, where now there's like like Chad was talking yesterday about like frame trapping and I don't know, just all these terms that I've never heard. I'm like, I play the game. It's good. It's fun. But well, that was a question. Did you play the Wii?
Yes.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I like it. Brandon got us a Wii and got me going into that, and yeah, I love it.
Do you like
The
it?
golf
It
and
was- it was
the
so
bowling,
simple.
and yeah, it is simple.
Yeah, that was Nintendo was freaking geniuses with that thing,
They
right?
were.
Everybody hates them now apparently because. Do you even know what the Wii U is? Have you ever heard of the Wii U?
No.
Oh, that's awesome.
There you go.
That's
Boom.
awesome.
Proof.
There you go.
There you go. You just recorded proof. We can
Yep.
send that straight to Nintendo.
Yep. Just
Every time a company, well, and if you're smart like PlayStation, so in the 90s we got the PlayStation 1, and then the PlayStation 2, and then the 3, and then spoiler alert, the 4. And then you have Xbox and Nintendo, which have to like get really creative every time they're making a new console. So they had the Wii, and then they named the new one the Wii U. We're all just
Because
like,
Yeah,
no one's
don't
gonna
have a
know
clue.
that's a new console.
Yeah, that was kind of the idea. Like, would they have been better just to call it the Super Wii? Like,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
That's my
That
thoughts.
that my brain can understand. And then I liked it until they developed the one that everybody said you should have in regard to physical fitness.
Oh,
Right.
And then I didn't like that at all because you had to put in your weight, and then everybody could see what your weight was. I didn't like that.
Just wait till they come out with what was the thing they're going to come out with a few years ago with
Yeah, the heart sensor.
the heart
yeah,
sensor.
the life
Yeah.
sensor. Or
It just
whatever.
got
Yeah.
shelved after. That's a horrible idea.
Nintendo's willing to try anything.
Yeah.
So I'm disappointed, Hugh. Right? I see you've gotten captured. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen, man. I mean,
No,
it's
the Nazis.
yeah. There's you can evade that. I don't know if you knew that. You just added a whole other hour onto your game
You're a
experience.
Can you really evade that?
In his defense,
No,
he chose.
and
to-
just for the record, I hate that, man. I hate in shooters where like it seems like you can't make a first-person shooter nowadays where you don't get captured and thrown into a prison and then immediately break out.
You know,
It's
one
like-
thing- yeah, and there also needs to be several helicopter explosions. Like
Right.
That's a pretty important.
I don't know if
thing.
I've got any helicopter explosions. I've played a lot of this game. Actually, for viewers at home, I'm going to be reviewing this game. I'm hopefully going to finish it up tonight and then get a review before the end of the week. But yeah, no helicopters explosions. Lots of stealth in the beginning of this game. So, Mr. Huber, you were a gigantic fan of Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Huge fan. Look at
So,
this guy.
so we have a standalone. You got to lower the.
He's gonna die. Don't
You gotta
tell
lower
him.
the
No,
power.
no, don't tell him.
Okay.
Just let him die.
You see that power meter on your right there?
Yeah.
You
No.
can crank that puppy. There you
This?
go. Yep, that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, don't tell him.
guy's
Gotta let him
nuts.
fail.
We gotta make progress, you know?
Oh, okay.
If we're going through the
Man.
whole show and it's literally just this over and over and over again.
Oh, jeez.
Well,
And then
did
you go,
you-
wait for it, wait for it,
Shoot
wait
him,
for
shoot
it.
him, shoot him, shoot him.
Yep, and then that goes, yep, and then you go get him. Go get him, go get him.
Oh
Do
gosh.
it. Nice. And then, yeah, you just do that for the next 20 minutes.
Did you get the did you get the did you get to the point where you actually play as old Wolfenstein in the game?
Yeah.
And that's so cool.
Yeah,
I
they
love
have, it was in, New Order and in this one.
Yeah.
It's weird because you don't really, unlock anything.
No, it's
There's,
just part of the game.
treasures you pick up, and I'm, obsessively picking them all up. It's like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I'm not going to, take any of this back in the game.
Because it's a treasure on the ground. You have to get it.
Right, yeah,
Video
of
games.
course. The shinies. So what do you think so far, Mr. Huber? What is your hype level for the Old Blood?
Maximum hype. I know Prison Breaks are kind of rinse and repeat, but just the fact that it's a prequel, that it's before the Nazis are in total control. It hints at a really cool village that we saw in the trailer when you go by in the very beginning.
Yeah.
So I'm eager to get to that point.
Well,
He's gonna get shot.
Oh,
Shoot him.
God.
Shoot his face.
Oh,
Shoot his
right,
face.
you're eager to die.
Hey, so how do you feel, Mom, about violence in video games? Do you have a stance on that? Do you feel that violence? Let's just open up that really quick because we're playing a pretty violent game. Do you feel that there's a direct correlation?
Oh,
Shoot him! Shoot him in the face! Shoot him in the fucking face! Sorry.
Different guy.
Well,
Oh god.
being the lover of The Sopranos and Game of Thrones, I probably don't need to ask me that one.
Oh god.
I'm just telling you. I'm telling you right now. I'm gonna take her
Apart.
home. She's my mom now.
Right?
She's my mom now. Sorry, Mom. She's my mom now.
I'm tempted to
great.
just have a show. Just have give her her own show.
Absolutely.
Have it, just send an Uber out to get you, every once a week, and you can come in. And
Wait, maybe you can teach
talk
me.
about
You know,
stuff.
spend some time with your mommy and show her how to play video games.
You could do BJ and mommy time.
Oh, I'm gonna pay for this dearly.
no, not more than me.
Mother's
I'm-
Day is canceled,
Right,
right?
yeah, no,
right,
I'm
canceled.
gonna pay. They haven't even. I'm not even looking at chat. I'm scared too. The Brandon's mom show says Wakawazu. So Ben Moore and Mike Huber are on the couch right now, and Ben Moore and Mike Huber and I got into a pretty rough patch during our Game of the Year awards for 2014, with Far Cry 4 barely edging out The New Order. Do you?
We blame Brad Ellis. He was the swing vote.
Right? I just
Yeah.
My man.
I just met them today, and they were already complaining about that to me.
Oh yeah.
Like while we sat on the couch.
But this is actually I've sat in on Game of the Year award deliberations before. This is the first time I actually tried to orchestrate it, like herding cats together, and I think that was the one time where we're standing on opposite sides of the room, like staring at each other and just like. But it's fun. I really had to I did my research on that one. I wrote a list of all of the things that were good and it's like debate class. It's like I actually have you played New Order? You played the full Wolfenstein, the one that came out last year?
I've watched a lot of that.
It's spectacular.
Yeah.
It's one of the best shooters we've gotten in a really long time. And one of the things I'm really looking forward to, hopefully, in Old Blood is the character interaction. The acting is actually really, really great. There's a lot of stuff that just happens independent of you. Typically, Mom, in first-person shooters and other games, stuff can be very scripted. So you'll kind of walk into a story event and you'll see something like you're watching The Sopranos. It's like, this is just how this plays out. And a lot of the things in the New Order, characters were just doing things in the environment, and if you wanted to stay and listen to that conversation, you could, or if you wanted to leave, you could. And there's just a lot of really organic character development in the game that I thought was really cool.
Makes me sad that you have to stab robot dogs.
Yeah, you do have to take a lot of dogs out. Well, I mean, you cannot do that and then just fail at the game over and over and over again. But if you want to make something of yourself, Craig,
I know.
You got to take the robo dogs out.
I've never wanted to stab robot dogs.
And they actually, the main
Do they
villain
look
in the game,
like dogs?
They do.
they have
And you gotta
armor
stab
all
them
over them
right-
and
I don't
stuff.
like.
And
You gotta
I don't
stab
like.
them right in the heart. It's
Aw,
bad news.
I don't mind beheading somebody, but
Keep watching
the poor
it.
dog
I know.
can't
I know.
handle that.
The poor fake dog. It's much better to behead a poor fake
were there any
person.
animals harmed on Game of Thrones?
No.
What about Game of Thrones? There's
Well,
couple
I
of
can't,
dogs that don't make it out
but
of that
I don't
show.
have to like it.
Right?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Still
So the reason I bring up Far Cry 4 specifically, Mr. Huber, is I think the additions to Far Cry 4 have been a little lackluster, actually, and they haven't had a standalone expansion like this. So is this vindication for you, Huber, that you get this awesome, some people are saying 6 to 8 hour standalone expansion?
I remember that was a big point in Far Cry winning, was just how big it is, how you can go into every encounter and it's different every time, and that the game is just so massive. So maybe this is a little vindication, more of Wolfenstein.
Do you think, if you could put money on it, do you think there's going to be a resurgence of New Order? Do you think people are going to play this game, get it, you just get I don't really want to play that full game. I like this being like a downloaded thing. Jump into this, be like, God, that was so good.
I think it's
I
smart
want to check
that
New
it's
Order
a
out.
prequel, because anyone who never played New Order can hop in and feel like they're not missing anything. It's like a really good starting point. So yeah, I think if they like it, they'll definitely pick up New Order, Old Blood.
Right.
Got it.
It-
New
it's-
Order.
you see what they did there?
Confusing.
You see what they did there, Huber? And just before we move on, what do you think so far?
Just gotta get out of this.
stealth right out of the gate.
Yeah. I love stealth. Keeping me on my toes.
Killing puppies.
But I don't usually care for these concrete environments. I want to get out in the open.
You're in a prison cell, sir.
I gotta
Just
get
saying, they're just gonna put you in a jungle right off the bat.
Prisons aren't the most fun.
So yeah, you can't pick up that big gun. I don't recommend it because you just really got to stealth through the next little bit. Not to spoil it for you, but I would like to see some gunplay before the end of the stream today, Huber. If you could get
You're
get an
about
automatic.
to see some.
There's a really cool automatic shotgun that I think you'll dig. I don't know if it qualifies as a shotgun. There's all sorts of crazy sci-fi weapons in this game. But before we move on to Mr. Ian Hank, I just want to remind everybody we are giving away codes for Echo of Soul, which is a pretty crazy MMO that actually has a PvP mode that's coming to it. That we have a trailer exclusively on GT today that you can check out. We're giving away codes for that, so talk to Brad and throw good questions at my mom and/or Craig.
Just
if you
mom.
feel like it.
Just throw it to mom.
For those who don't know,
I don't want to answer questions. Mom
Ian
does.
Hank is the Emperor Palpatine of GT Live. He's in the control room with Don. Don's got headphones on. Are you tuned in? Don, are you listening to
true.
GT Live, or are you just
There he is.
listening
Baby
to something else? Are you just listening to
Baby steps.
smooth jazz right now, or
Step. Yeah, I've got him listening to classical music.
Hendrix.
Yeah.
nice?
Hendrix, classical Hendrix.
I like this God camera you guys have going on in there.
Yeah,
I
he-
know
It's
you changed
fitting
it last week or a
because,
couple weeks
you
ago,
know.
but it's good.
I wish I had
I'm
the button. See,
God,
he's
so-
totally in control of the show, but I wish I had a little panic button here. I could just what's Ian doing? Let's see.
Yeah.
Because I can see him from here.
You'll
I
never
just don't wanna
know.
I can't see his shirt.
You'll never know.
If he
It's
spilled
just
something on his
brown.
pants, I wouldn't be able to see it.
He pushed.
I
the
thought
buttons,
about
but
not
you pulled the
wearing
heartstrings,
pants
right?
one
Right.
time.
I know. Well, you can't. You could get away with not wearing pants before, Ian, but you can't
Yeah.
do it now.
Now it's
That camera is directly
jig
on
is up.
pants.
But I can, so what's up?
Right.
He's not
Little do
wearing
you know,
pants.
none of us have pants on right
Yeah.
now. It's good.
Ian, do you play shooters at all?
I play the good ones, yeah.
What's a good shooter in Ian's eyes?
The last one I really played was, I really liked the Fallout games back in those days. I wanted to play this, but I kind of missed the boat on it, I feel like. I think now that it's cooled off, I'll play this one.
There are many boats in Old Blood.
The
Yeah.
boat's back.
Yeah, you should check it out. See if it's your speed.
Jones, did you see the Skyrim helmet in the beginning?
I did see. Yeah, there actually are. I feel like the Easter eggs in Old Blood are a little more readily available than the Easter eggs in New Order. I felt like I kind of had to dig for those. I actually didn't notice the spot where because you were talking before, Craig, about the old school bit where you can go play through the original Wolfenstein that's in Old Blood and is also in New Order. Almost totally missed that. Because it's in the little hub area. It's like on a bed that you go to, and when you click on it, it says "Enter the Nightmare," and I was like, "No, I don't want to do that. That sounds terrible." And then just like looked up and I'm like, "Oh, that's probably the classic Wolfenstein thing." Actually, I just want to point out for fans at home something I noticed. I'm curious to throw your way, Huber, because we did a Wolfenstein retrospective back in the day. So I did play the original Wolfenstein and the sequel to it, super old school games, and I was actually one of the first games to have audio. And so there were Nazis that would come up and they would say, I think it was like Outspites or something. And, I mean, you could barely understand what they were saying because it was German and because it was extremely, compressed. But one of the only lines in the original Wolfenstein was "Papers, please." They would come up and demand to see your papers. And that happens at the very beginning of Old Blood. You have to process through Castle Wolfenstein, so I wonder if that's a nod. That you're going into Castle Wolfenstein and they're asking for your papers.
There's also a lot of oof, oof, oof,
There's a lot of that,
against the
yeah.
wall.
My favorite Nazi paper please is Medal of Honor because you actually show them your papers and you can walk by.
I remember that. That was good.
How did you like the papers mechanic in Battlefield Hardline? How'd that work out where you can show them your badge?
Oh, the badge? I was a bad cop, so I was just kind of blazing.
I love they're debating papers mechanics.
So Ian, now that we're having a nice friendly chat, I'm actually going to bring you in for our number 11 this week. So
nice.
this is the first time that you are weighing in on number 11 for our countdown. Number 11, of course, is the poor small entry that did not make our top 10 list. The top 10 list for this week is the top 10 mispronounced words in video games. This is very, very near and dear to my heart.
Well, since you told me about this, I've really been racking my brain about things that have been mispronounced or things that can't be, pronounced properly, and I can't think of one.
You can't think of one.
This would be a horrible top 10 list for ScrewAttack because I can't think of a damn thing.
Craig cannot say Sagat.
Well, that's okay. No. Okay.
Yeah, I said Bob Saget forever. I said
Saget. See, bam, I'm not alone. It's Saget because Bob.
There you go, baby.
You're a good man. Saget. Okay. Yeah,
That's
let's go Street
dangerous.
Fighter. Right? I hope these are on the list. Saget, Ryu, not Ryu.
Right.
Right.
Well, are you talking about old school pronunciation or the actual pronunciation?
Old school, right? Like in Street Fighter.
Yeah, I said
2.
I grew up Ryu.
Yeah,
and
Ryu.
I was
exactly.
reprimanded harshly one day. And
Oh
then
yeah,
I never.
like when the internet came into play, it's like you're a bad person for saying that because that's not how you say it.
Because
Yeah.
kids grow up now and they get the videos. They got this thing called voice acting in games now. So characters actually, pronounce their names. But
yeah.
Final Fantasy characters for 9 whole entries. It was like, how the heck? I don't know.
Yeah. You just guess. Okay, so Dalsum. If we go back on Street Fighter, is it Dalsum, Dalsim? Is it Zangief? I don't know. How do you say these things? I don't know. I just said them as a kid. But okay, I'm sorry. Continue. Yes, number 11.
Speaking of Final Fantasy, and this I thought that was unusual actually, and I want to get your explanation, Ian. Ian said that he grew up with several people that mispronounced the word chocobo.
It's true. Everyone, they were all saying like Chocobo. I think I remember a Chukaboo or something. Chukaboo was in there. Everybody had their own wrong pronunciation, and everyone was convinced that they were right. Because none of them had voices back then. It was all just reading it.
Right.
So then when someone else was like, no, it's Chocobo. We're like, no, it's not. That you don't know any better than the rest of us. And then they were like, well, I read it in a thing. And I'm like, I don't know.
And who knows actual pronunciations? Like you go to Wikipedia
Right.
and it's got the pronunciation there, and it's like I don't know what that means.
Yeah, exactly. There's no dictionary for video game terms.
But that's a big thing with you, pronunciation.
Well, that's-
real big.
Again, Ben Moore on the couch, mom, Mr. Ben Moore over there, likes himself the Japanese games. If they make games in Japan and send them over to America, Ben gets very excited about that. And then Ben plays those games, and then Ben writes scripts about those games and gives them to me and doesn't tell me how to pronounce anything. So then I put it up on, my easel there, and then I get my mic ready, and I'm just about to record, and then while it's recording, there's like a big gap in the audio signature on the file where I gotta wander over and just be like, who, what, what was we did our top 10 ladies list back in the day. What was your Persona character?
Chie.
Yeah, Chie.
Oh, Naoto, I think, was the one that...
Well, no, Chie. Chie was it, because I remember you weren't at your desk, and I actually went over to Brad, and I was like, is it Chie? And you were like, yeah, Chie. Don't ask Ben how that's pronounced, man. He's like, you're never going to hear the end of it. So yeah, Chocobo, surprising entry on the list. I actually put some other ones. Normally we just mention the one, but because I'm just so fascinated by this list. So this list is near and dear to my heart because I'm always freaking out that I'm pronouncing things wrong, and people are always reaching out to me. I remember when we originally did the Final Fantasy retrospective, I called her Yuffie, and it's Yuffie.
See, this is funny because
people were upset.
I think that's the big difference between you and I is that I don't care. I don't care if people are like, you're saying, shut up. I don't care. That's how I say it. It's just different for people. But yeah, you're so
that's
proper.
And not to get on a soapbox or create an editorial segment out of the blue, but there's a difference between pronouncing something wrong for your region and then pronouncing something wrong, period. If you tell someone you're pronouncing that wrong, you have to be specific because it's you brought up Ryu. It's, Ryu is the accepted pronunciation, but it's actually not in Japan, it's Ryu, or it's really quick and there's a D somewhere
Ryu.
in there. Right.
Yeah.
And it's that's a lot of work. I don't know. I'm cool with Ryu. I think that's fine. I think if you live on this side of the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific, then
or Atlantic, whatever you want.
Yeah, whichever one.
Can you tell this is a big thing for him?
Yeah, very much
It's
so.
a big thing.
It's
And if you
Can you
really,
tell, Mom, when something's-
if you really want to get him going, send him an email and put ... after a sentence.
That's
you
what
know.
I do all the time.
Yeah.
That's why you
She's
never
big.
respond
Over the
to
edge.
me.
Loves the dots.
Right over the edge.
Loves the exclamation points. Loves the caps.
Any smiley
emojis?
Do you like emojis?
I love emojis. Emojis
Okay.
are great. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Just
just doesn't
love
like
having
the
an entire
dots
conversation
and
in
the
emojis.
exclamation points.
Oh,
He-
that's
he doesn't like that.
But yeah, my brother Chris and I will get some. It's I got an email from Mom and just 8 exclamation points in this one. Whoa.
Oh my gosh! That's how I send emails. I can't I'm a bad person.
No
now,
wonder
right?
you two get along so well.
I know. Oh my gosh! Wow. Okay. I'm sorry. Yes. Continue with this. I'm very excited to hear
So
these.
some other commonly mispronounced words that did not make the top 10. IDOS. IDOS.
The old company, yeah.
Right? Gradius.
Gradius or Gradius?
I don't know. I made sure to look up the ones on the top 10. I made sure that those were pronounced correctly when I say them in the list. But yeah, Gradius or Gradius?
I said Gradius growing up.
Gradius. I said
Yeah.
Gradius too. Lumines.
Yeah.
Lumines. Ninja Gaiden.
Oh, Gaiden. Gaiden. Yeah.
Not Gaiden.
Gaiden.
I remember Jeff Groat said Gaiden in front of the Ninja Gaiden guys. And they were like, oh, no.
Yeah. That's awesome because that's actually really funny because obviously there's this scene in The Wizard where he's like Ninja Gaiden. Hi. like you and I are the only people who actually know what I'm talking about. But that was a big conversation totally growing up. There was Ninja Gaiden. And it's so good to hear. It's Ninja Gaiden. That's great.
Do you know what Gaiden means in
No.
Japanese?
Ninja badass.
Side story.
Oh. Okay.
Because there was Resident Evil Gaiden? Was there a Resident Evil Gaiden? Yeah. I was like, when I did the Resident Evil retrospective. There you go. Ninja side story.
That sounds like a pretty horrible name.
Hayabusa wasn't cool enough to get his own story. He had to get a ninja side story.
Well, that's what I was saying. That sounds like a pretty horrible name for if they released that in America called Ninja Side Story, I would not take it seriously because I think I'm getting a 5-minute video game.
Right.
But it turns out to be the best thing ever.
Ninja Tangent.
Yeah.
Samus Aran. There are definitely some in the Samus Aran camp. And I believe there's a Smash Brothers video or there's some video out there that I think it was on some website or something that said Samus Aran. Everyone was like, huh?
Samus.
See?
That's
Samus.
Samus.
And this one's so great because it's just how on earth do you pronounce this? But ease.
Yeah, I saw it on your
Are you
list.
ready? Y-S. Go for it. It's wise is.
Oh, these are so good. You're so good at this. Yeah, I remember seeing Wanderers of Wise growing up, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And I remember seeing that in my local video store was 2-Day Video. I remember seeing that in 2-Day Video, and I was like, I'm not going to rent that because I don't know what a Y is. I had no idea what that was, and probably up until 10 years ago, I had no idea it was ease.
Apparently, according to the internet, and you can always trust the internet, Craig.
The internet
I'm
knows
just
all.
looking. I'm just scouring chat here to see if people are like, haha, that's not how that's pronounced, you idiot. So that is our countdown this week. You can check that out this Friday. The top 10 mispronounced words in video games. We're halfway through the show, Mom. That's a half an hour right there. It's nothing, right? just flies right by. So we're gonna take a break, and you guys are gonna watch a trailer, a badass trailer, and I don't even care if it's badass or not badass. But we got a new trailer yesterday for Disney Infinity 3.0 edition, Star Wars. We're getting Star Wars, we're getting Marvel, and we're getting more Disney characters, and that's badass to me. Badass trailer, check it out.
Looks like we have visitors. Let's hope they come in peace.
Other content and characters sold separately.
How about a hug? I like you.
Had to put the Olaf joke in there at the end. So Chad just pointed out the greatest thing ever, which I am such an idiot for not recognizing. Speaking of BJ Jones, BJ Blazkowicz. Blazkowicz?
That should be on the top 10.
Blazkowicz? Yeah, exactly. Blazkowicz. There we go. Number 12. Blazkowicz. So yeah, possibly the most famous BJ in all of video games. The hero of this.
Well, there was the hot coffee mod.
But there's a different context. My mom isn't in them, Craig.
Just spitting hot fire here. That's all right.
So it's time for our editorial segment of the show, and because I have my parent and I have a parent, I have not been suckered into being a parent yet, Craig. I'm avoiding it at all costs.
It's not getting suckered.
Yeah?
It's the best thing in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
100%. Yes.
And you have two of them now?
I have two. I got a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old who literally today, my 10-month-old took her first steps, and I was not there for them.
You weren't streaming that?
Oh, boy.
I know. Isn't that horrible?
No, I wasn't there for my eldest, so.
I get up, and my wife's like, guess what Maddie did today? And she took her first steps. And I was like, so we FaceTimed, and I watched her take 4 steps. And I felt like a horrible father for not being there.
No.
Yeah, but anyways, just video games.
I'm gonna specifically direct chat to all collectively tell you that you're not a horrible father.
That's good. Because the rest of the internet tells me I am, so it's all right.
Oh, really? Okay.
no, I'm just kidding.
Just based on your personality, not
just the internet in general. So.
Are you smart enough not to bring your family members onto ScrewAttack Media?
So smart enough to avoid that. Yes, absolutely.
It wasn't tempting to just have a show, just like.
No. Everyone loves mom here. I'm
right.
Just saying, but I will never bring my wife or kids anywhere near the internet as long as I can possibly, do so. So.
Yeah, you're a hit for sure, Mom. There's no question. So,
yeah.
So I just want to talk about playing games.
He's gonna ask for money.
Can I get $20?
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Right when the cameras go. Okay, goodbye, everybody. Hey, Mom. So
yeah.
If I could have my allowance early this week, that'd be great. So yeah, we've played some games together. You mentioned Pac-Man. I actually remember we had Pac-Man for the Atari, which was infamously terrible, but I had no idea. I grew up for a long time in my life. I just didn't register that was completely a subpar gameplay experience compared to the arcade version.
We could have an entirely different show based around that topic in itself. I'm just going to let you continue to talk because I can speak long and hard on that for sure.
On that Pac-Man? You dug it?
No, just the idea of bad games, playing them, growing up and not knowing they're bad, or even
until someone tells you it's
even
bad.
thinking
like,
they're bad
thanks.
until somebody goes, "That's a bad game," But anyways, we can continue that some other time.
But we play that. You mentioned Wii Sports. We play that as a family, and I just wonder what you guys think makes a good family game. I know it's a genre. I know there's, even Tim Schafer made a Sesame Street game. So developers every now and then they do want to work on it. And he mentioned at the time, he's like, I wanted to make a game that my kids could play, that I could play with my kids. And I just wonder what makes that game? What does that game have to have?
Would you like to handle this? Do you have any input?
No, you go because you've got young kids. I don't know. I think it's just something that you all enjoy doing.
I think there's So when I was growing up and I'd play games with my dad, we'd play games like Tetris, right? Games that were not, didn't push the boundaries, right? But that were still fun. Things that made for good family games were games that my dad could play, right? And that weren't too advanced. And you look back on like an NES game now and you think that's like advanced. No, like advanced for the time, right? So like Tetris, obviously, just like a game that you can take turns with and, that type of thing. Now, today it's a lot different, right? Because I have a 3-year-old, so I'm not, I haven't given my 3-year-old a controller yet, right? But she does play games on the iPad, right? So the games we play aren't traditional video games, even though they are video games. We play, learning games and, things like interactive things like that. So our game playing is built around, time with the iPad as opposed to, anything else. So, and it's funny because I really think that just that market itself, the mobile market, is huge and will continue to be huge for all the kids that have grown up with the iPad. It's, it's one of those things. So, I don't know. For me, it's about that ability to put your arm around somebody, and whether it's your son or your daughter, or have your dad doing it to you and or mom, and just being able to connect, whether it's for 10 or 15 minutes or an hour or whatever it is, but the game has to be simple, and it has to be something that both parent and child can understand, very easily.
Speaking of classic video games, going into old school Wolfenstein here.
Yeah.
So you played some mobile games, Mom. You were into Words with Friends for a while, or did you play Scrabble at all? Or
I did both. I love those games. I really do. Those are fun. I love crossword puzzles. The game that I remember, I think the game that started everything, believe it or not, with you, we started out with these small games. There were no batteries in it. There were the little they had little, I want to say like little metal
marbles.
Well,
yeah,
marbles,
really tiny.
little tiny. And they were called Pocketeers, and you used to. I should have bought stock in the company that manufactured these, because you had every one of those things, and they made a hideous sound, because those things were, and you'd have them stuffed in your pockets and everything and walk around, with that. But the chicken game, I think I remember that was the first battery operated, which was a watch battery, and it was no bigger than this. And
do you remember the chicken game, BJ?
I don't remember the chicken game. I really want to stream the chicken game now.
No, but the chicken was laying an egg, and the screen was no bigger than this, and we got the game when the Band-Aids in the car would no longer work. We would travel in a car. We'd get Brandon a box.
You have to set up the Band-Aids.
Yeah, what's the Band-Aids
okay.
about?
Well, we'd travel in a car for any length of time. Brandon would go berserk, and so the thing that really would keep him calm was to give him a box of Band-Aids or
a Kleenex box.
Or Kleenex box.
What?
So the Kleenex box, they would be popped out, or the Band-Aids were great because, especially boys, it's very difficult for them to open a Band-Aid, so it would take a long time. And then he would put the Band-Aid on the car. So
Wait. Can we come back up just like 5 seconds? Why is
you should try this. How old's your youngest?
Well, she's 3, but why is it difficult for boys to do this and it's so easy for girls?
Well, you would think he's that good with video games that it would be. Their fingers, I don't know. These girls were more adept
We're
at
dumber.
that.
Big, dumb, fat,
we're dumb.
clunky fingers.
A guy still comes, a guy cuts his finger. What is the first thing you do?
Yeah, that's right. That's why I got married, Craig. It's like so my wife could open Band-Aids for me.
I'm sorry, because continue. Yeah, so they're just fidgeting with.
So he undoes the wrapper on the Band-Aid, and it goes on the floor, and then he has to take the 2 things off, and then he puts it on himself or on his brother or on the back seat of the car. So when we finally get to our destination, the whole car is Band-Aided.
So worth it for the silence.
Band-Aid.
Worth it. You know what I mean? You could choose between a tantrum and a Band-Aided car.
Yeah. So when the small video games came, it was a lot cleaner car, and anyway.
How many Band-Aids would you give him? Like 12 or like?
Oh no, you boxes.
Really?
My boxes. It was cheaper than any game that you could. I mean, cheaper than any toy.
I'm waiting for that Band-Aid opening app on tablets. They just don't have it. That'd be really great. Just one
do
by
you
one.
remember the chicken game? Was the chicken would drop the egg?
The farthest back I go is Game & Watch, because I remember you got those for me too, and that was Gunpei Yokoi. That was the man who invented the Game Boy. Worked on those, and Mr. Game & Watch was in Smash Brothers, those were really iconic. But those were ran on watch batteries. And,
My
they were
cheeks
very,
hurt
very
from
small.
smiling and laughing so hard. This is outstanding.
I still want that chicken game. I got addicted to that. That really, I'd sneak that away from you.
So what Katir? What were they called? Play Katir or Game Katir?
What did I say? They were.
That's the chat. The
Oh,
chat.
I just put the wrong word in your brain. So
that's a brain freeze.
Okay,
I just lost it.
We were so streaming.
What did I say it was?
We can stream that, right? We can plug that in. They got an HDMI out of the chicken.
Figure it
game,
out.
right?
We'll point a camera at it.
Yeah.
We'll just point a
Chicken game
camera
confirmed.
at it.
That's awesome.
So we are getting close to the end of the show. Before we do, I want to go back to chat. So I wanted some more weapons. So we got a pistol. Have you picked up an assault rifle yet, Mr. Huber?
Yeah, we had a rifle in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Shotgun, we had double barrel shotgun. And blasting people.
So it's interesting. I think there's actually like a couple places that you can open up the Wolfenstein, because I hadn't found it this early.
Yeah, it's really early in the game.
I heard
there's another one. There's another one where you actually like get into the castle later. That's in like a room
I heard
that's all
there's
ruins.
one stage from each of the worlds in Wolfenstein 3D. So there's like 8 of them or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So what do you get for
Huber's doing
beating
his
these?
research. Not a darn thing, as far as I can tell.
No, you just get to shoot Nazis. Huh?
Hey, just walk out and shakes it off like it's a.
I just don't remember where the secret walls are.
Yeah,
we've been running around just hitting
So this game on this franchise, this is what this game used to look like. So the thing they're going through now is just an homage to what the franchise used to look like.
There sure as hell wasn't a map like that when you played it back in the
Right?
day.
Yeah. That
Tell
was.
you what, you just figured it out.
And you couldn't aim down or up.
No.
For sure.
No, you just shoot straight ahead.
So are you going to be staying in this classic realm for the rest of the stream?
We're trying to get out.
You're trying to get out.
We're trapped in the nightmare.
Okay. Hopefully we can make it out of the nightmare before the end of the stream. So, Mr. Brad Ellis, if you'd be so kind to join us for the last part of GT Live, the most dreaded part for me, the Q&A.
Oh man,
Hopefully you guys have been on your best behavior in the chat.
These should be awesome.
And just a final reminder, we're giving away codes. We're giving away 10 codes. We might not have time for 10 whole questions, but we will be giving away 10 codes for Echo of Soul, which is a very stylized MMORPG that is adding a bunch of new modes to the game. And so you can get the code and you can log in, and then if you guys register and then let us know, you can either message Brad or you can message me on Twitch and let us know you guys logged in, and then give us your name when you log in to Echo of Soul. Then we give you the Founders Pack. Didn't get details on what's in the Founders Pack. Hopefully it's some good stuff.
Question for you.
They did say items and not just items, so hopefully it's a bunch of cool stuff.
Question.
Yep.
Since you kind of run the show here at GT,
I try.
Yeah. Like when you guys like set up a new account like on Twitch, is your email associated with it? Because I do that all the time with ScrewAttack.
I think we got a ton of crazy emails when we first started GT. So there's I think we
so you guys actually were smart about it.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know if I was the one that was
Not
smart.
me.
Somebody was smart.
Not me. So. All right, cool. I was just curious.
Your own personal email, everything's just coming that way.
Yeah, just everything. I get Twitch notifications about everything every day. It's crazy, but anyways.
Well, you can subscribe to our channel. You get Twitch notifications. For
Already
that too,
am.
Trey. Sweet.
You know it.
Do you have questions ready, sir?
Yes, I do.
Are you primed?
I am primed.
All right.
I
Hit him
would
with
like
your
to
best shot.
apologize if I mispronounce anyone's name on Twitch.
Mispronunciation
They
is
get a
the
little weird
name of the game for
sometimes.
today.
Okay. This question is from Rory. I would like to know if Brandon's interests have rubbed off on his mom, and if so, which of his interests are her favorites and why?
I would say probably movies. You've always had a love of movies, and we've watched movies together. It's gotten to the point now, sometimes with watching a movie, Brandon has taught me that when something is brought into a movie, it's brought into the movie, let's say beginning of the movie, for a reason. So if you're watching a movie and you think, I wonder why, there's a reason it's going to come back. So I get to a point where I can't always sit and enjoy a movie because I'm going, oh, Brandon, I should be watching, figuring out what's going on.
Great job,
or
Brandon.
he
Spoiled it.
You ruined it for your
yeah.
mom. You ruined movies for your
Or
mother.
he's
That's
really
great.
into camera angles. or how many shots does this take? Is this one shot or whatever? So yeah, sometimes you do ruin it for me.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah. Shots fired.
Gulp. Second question.
That's awesome.
RHD wants to know, what was your reaction when Brandon said he was starting a video game news site?
I thought he was nuts.
Craig asked her that before the show. She said the exact same thing.
Well, my parents did too. My parents, you can ask them today, they have no idea what to do. They have zero idea what
But there's got to be some kind of a comfort in that, It's
I
like,
mean, they just know I do this thing on the internet with video games, and I've been doing it for 10 years, So like it's just this thing I do, and when you try to hear it, when they try to explain it, is the best thing in the world. Like just trying to, they're trying to explain something that they have no idea about. So it's always really fun to me, and I never clue them in. Like, why explain it? It's way more fun just to listen to them. So.
Good secret find, Huber. Good secret find. Nice.
Got one.
And actually, I just want to point out, I remember playing the old Wolfenstein, and I would just like run along the walls down like the whole hallway, just like click, 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 like trying to find the secret walls. It actually brings up a button prompt in this game.
Oh.
Because it's the same as any other door that you open in New Order or Old Blood. So it's like, you can sneak in. And the map, it's just like, what a piece of cake, this new version.
Okay. Peter wants to know, whatever happened to the ScrewAttack and GT top 10 crossovers?
Well, we did one.
Yeah, we did one. We did
Pretty
the top
recent.
10 Wii games.
We did one. I'd love to do more.
We're just lazy as hell.
Yeah, pretty
Craig.
much.
Yeah, I don't think,
it's really hard to plan those things out ahead of time. And you guys have been doing really good top 10s. So
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. They're way better than ours.
Yours is more fun. Like there was definitely a time, when we, because ScrewAttack used to have a lot of content on GT.
Yeah.
And there was definitely a time where like we would try to think of a super serious countdown or something that would be like very like editorially provocative, and then you would do one. And it was like, oh, should have done that one.
Yeah.
That's like way more fun.
Yeah, like we were. It's funny because I think we were. I'll take credit for it. I think we were like the first guys who just really did top 10 list about whatever we wanted to do,
Right.
And previously it was like, this is the top 10 NES games, and then we're like, this is the top 10 douchebags,
Right.
So we do that, and we just call out whoever we want. Like my favorite top 10 list we ever did was top 10 PlayStation 3 games when it first came out, and the top 10 list featured 6 games and a movie. so
I mean, just to classify the bridge between game trailers and ScrewAttack, we did the top 10 Wii games. That was our crossover, and Netflix was one of your picks.
Yeah, exactly. It came
on
on
ScrewAttack.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's kind of been a running gag for a long time.
That's about as low blow as you can do to Nintendo. Just like Netflix.
Hey, what do you get more run out of? Wii Sports or Netflix?
It's true, but I mean that's true of any system. I mean that's true. It's if you go to recent on my 360 at any point, it was Netflix. It was the last
Absolutely.
thing I
mean,
most likely used.
100%. Well, we should do more top 10 list crossovers. Absolutely. Next week, what do you got?
It's next week, man. I don't know. I'm thinking,
We'll make it happen.
Elise has been pulling for the top 10 pooches for a long time. Not top 10
my
dogs,
gosh.
top 10 pooches.
No, I'm on board with that.
Pooches wouldn't be from this game for sure.
No, I'm
Dangerous
100% on
pooches.
board with that. My mind is going crazy right now.
The chat has frequently asked for the top 10 sewers.
No.
Sewers, huh?
Rory
No,
really wants
don't make
it.
me
Well, I
do
mean,
it.
that's obviously in Ninja Turtles 4,
Right?
where they're sewer surfing.
Right.
And you got pizza monsters coming
Battletoads, I think they get in the sewers at one point.
Blight Town.
There's definitely some sewers in this game. I'm sorry, Ian?
Blight Town.
Blight Town, is that one of your Souls games, Ian?
Yeah.
The
The
depths.
depths,
Shells of the
yeah,
Empire.
the depths too.
Oh yeah, that's a dynamite.
Empire,
Yeah, you
yeah.
get your jetpack and the Dianogas running around and stuff like that. Boom, got
Top
4
10
of them right
sewers.
there.
All right, cool. Sounds
Impromptu top 10 deliberation. Not to get on too
All
much of a tangent. More questions.
All right, this one is for Mom. What was Brandon's most embarrassing child moment?
good. I knew it was going to happen. This is awesome.
Games related.
Nope, not games related.
Well, this is most embarrassing from a mom perspective. I guess you would gauge most embarrassing by how much I complained about it, I guess? Or was it just you from a distance being like,
I don't know.
Right.
I don't think you were ever really embarrassed. Were you?
What about you, though? Were you ever
that's probably
embarrassed?
my flaw. Yeah, when were you most embarrassed of me?
Was there anything that he did where you're just like, oh, Brandon Jones? Or BJ? Was there anything he ever did? Because I would love to hear that.
I ran away a lot.
No, my classic.
Yeah, I would just take off.
Yeah.
You run away from this woman, you
Can
bastard.
I really tell this?
Yes, you can tell it.
Oh.
Of course. Please.
Wait, how old am I?
This is not about him. This is about us right now. Okay, Mom? This is about us. What do you got?
You guys really have to watch him because he has a tendency sometimes to lie a little, So we
Yeah.
have to.
Oh yeah.
You know, you got to keep him on. You have to keep
Well,
him
the
on track.
classic story is I would tell one story and then she'd be like, Brandon, I know that's not true.
No.
And then-
I'm telling the story.
Mom! Sit down, all right.
It would be Brandon or BJ. Why did you do whatever? Because I had this thing about lying. If you told the truth and fessed up, the punishment, even though you may not have liked it, was fair, and we had communication. But the lying was always a real issue. I didn't like that, so I would ask him what had happened. So I would get story number 1, then I would get story number 2, then I would get story number 3, and I think maybe I might have gone to 4 or 5, and then I would just friggin' lose it, and he'd go, okay, number 3.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's like multiple choice.
Yeah. He
It's
was
like-
good.
It's
He
like
was
choose
good.
your own adventure.
You know,
line.
he's a gamer, but he's also an actor. So you know that.
Wow.
That was his. Well,
See-
it started out your major in college.
There are potential issues right now, Mom,
Yeah.
with ethics in video games journalism.
Oh boy.
I don't know.
Well, it's just
Outing me as a
lying to
creative liar.
parent. It's
Right,
the lying
okay, there
to
you
a
go. Yeah,
parent.
right, okay,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
the lying to a parent.
Right.
Well, let's
right.
just-
When
let's
I made the transition from BJ to Brandon, I swore off lying entirely.
Is there any
Why?
story in particular, anything in particular that really sticks out that you're like,
Hey,
wow?
the questions come from chat, Craig.
This is
Come on.
important.
You're cutting in on valuable chat
My
time.
job as an in-depth investigatory journalist is to dig here and find out.
He was a fun kid. You
Thanks,
were.
Mom.
You really were a fun kid.
Thanks, Mom.
I used to call
Option B
him
was
my
he was a
funny
brat.
man.
Option C
Yeah.
was.
Please, more questions. More
Okay,
questions.
this one's from Tongue Surgery. Why is your name Stuttering Craig? I've never once heard you stutter.
So when ScrewAttack started, there was a lot of. So I just came out of working. I interned at a radio station, and when we started ScrewAttack, I wanted us to kind of stick out. I didn't want it to be like, hey, there's Craig, there's Tom. I wanted it to be like, hey, there's, you wanted to stick out a certain way, right? And with a background in radio, or a little brief background in radio, that's the first thing I did, was giving like nicknames to us. For me personally, growing up, I mumbled a lot, and it was more like my mom all the time would be like, oh, you talk over yourself all the time. So like, mumbling Craig doesn't really have the same ring to it, and talking over yourself Craig doesn't have the same ring to it, so Stuttering Craig was what we went with. So it's more just kind of like I don't know, like, I don't really stutter, Handsome Tom wasn't that handsome, just one of those things.
There you go.
Yeah.
I got the joke.
Yeah.
All right, this
I
one's
mean,
from
no offense to Tom. But.
At the time, he's grown into his looks.
this one's from Requiem's Void. Did you guys see the Igarashi Kickstarter?
Which one is that?
It is the guy who made many Castlevanias. He's just started a new Kickstarter. And it's pretty much, or like a teaser site, and it's just him sitting on a throne, kind of like how Dracula sits in Castlevania, and he's like, you can either choose a whip or a sword.
What?
Pretty much.
You haven't heard about this, Ian?
No. What?
So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
this is your jam, Ian.
swordorwhip.com, I believe, right?
Yeah, something like
So you can go to swordorwhip.com, and it's this video game developer. It's the guy who's famous for popularizing the Castlevania series, which is now vacant. So it's him sitting on a throne, and he says, choose a sword or a whip. And there's all weird things you can do. Some guy tried entering the Konami code, and he was like, why did you think that would work? So it's weird, and it's neat, like, when we started GameTrailers.com, video game advertising was very traditional. You'd have your television spot, and you'd have a couple, pieces of video that you release online. But they can do all sorts of crazy things now with advertising. There was a game that was released a couple weeks ago, and on Twitch, on the website that people are on right now, watching the show, they had security cameras of prisoners. I mean, obviously actors, but like prisoners, and it was like supposedly a 3-day thing that you could watch, and chat could pick like where the cameras were going to move. And
So back to Castlevania.
Sure.
This is the guy with the cowboy hat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
What was the last Castlevania you worked on?
Order of Ecclesia, I think it was.
Yes.
Yes.
Thumbs up from
We're getting
Ben Moore.
the thumbs
Ben
up.
Moore
We're getting
confirmed.
the thumbs up, right?
Yeah.
The judges say yes. All right.
I mean, we'll say yes. That may not be. He also worked on the HD a little bit,
And
but I don't know exactly. I don't think he was as heavily involved.
and he's got a Kickstarter that's built around essentially a Castlevania.
Seems that way so far, yeah.
I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
Chat's going to correct us any
Yeah,
second now, but
waiting
I don't
for
want to
that.
slow it down.
Okay.
So that's a no and a no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome though. That
Those
sounds really
questions
cool.
from
Mom, Igarashi, you're not keeping on him? You don't follow him on Twitter? No. Castlevania, you're not pining for the resurgence? No?
Oh man.
Lords of Shadow, you didn't play? Okay.
This is from a Pilot 21. Has Brandon always been a good singer? We saw him in the Star Wars musical and the Bloodborne musical. How far back does his singing go?
His singing goes back quite a ways. He tell another story.
Yes.
Hit me.
I hit you. We got him into children's theater. His older brother is also a great actor, and but Brandon had a tendency when he would be in school would be to perform in the classroom. So there had to be, this is a place to perform on stage, not in a classroom. So we got you into some children's theater, and that kind of took off. And I think then the people that were running the productions realized that he had a voice and he could sing. His dad sings, and on his dad's side. On my side, not so much.
Yeah, I
my
think
side of the family was in the circus, believe it or not.
Really?
Oh, cool.
And
Let's talk about
but
that.
With Brandon, he's got a great voice. His dad's got a great voice. Chris has got a good voice.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite song, Brandon?
A favorite song?
That you like to belt out?
Favorite song to sing?
Yeah.
Anything by Sondheim. I don't know if you know Stephen Sondheim. Does that name ring a bell?
I like Vince Conti, the guy who did Rocky IV. If you can just hum the Rocky IV theme over and over again, that'd be great. That's all I really care about. So just the Rocky IV.
I'll call you out of the blue sometime this week, Craig.
Just out of nowhere, just start humming it.
All right, this question's for Craig.
Oh, yeah.
How was it working with Freak Zone for the AVGN Adventures?
Did Freak Zone ask that question?
I'm not sure.
It was great.
Who was that?
Yeah, it was great. Freak Zone is amazing. Sam, the guy who runs Freak Zone, is legitimately one of the most talented indie developers there is. He's so talented. He is a master of all trades. He is wicked when it comes to programming, wicked when it comes to soundtrack, wicked when it comes to graphics, the whole thing. He is a one-man band who is legitimately amazing, and I cannot wait to share our next project that he's working on sooner than later.
Awesome.
Chad is staring at me saying, "Don't you freaking say
it." Okay. This is from S. Blomkamp. Has Brandon ever gotten in trouble in school for playing video games?
No, I don't think so.
Let me
clarify that. Not that I was ever aware of.
Right.
See, it was a different time, right? Growing up, like, I remember vividly in third grade specifically, this kid, Kevin Travis was his name. He brought his NES cartridges to school to play after in daycare that he would go to, right? It wasn't like today where you pop out your phone and you're ready to go, and like phones are readily acceptable in school right now anyways. Like, you had to work if you wanted to play a game. Like, you had to bring your Game Boy, and it had to be during recess between, these 5 minutes and if the teacher allowed you. The teacher never allowed me to do it, so.
I fondly remember the TI-82 and TI-85 graphic calculators. And you could program your own games.
Oh yeah.
And so I had some friends that I remember Drug Wars, which is like a famous mobile game now, like originally on the TI-82.
Oregon Trail as well.
Yeah,
played a lot of Oregon Trail on the computers at the school. Yeah, with the printout paper that had the holes on the outside. Right?
Yeah.
Math blasters, good times.
Okay, this one's from Daniel Warren. What did you want Brandon to be growing up, and how far did he miss the target?
That guy's getting 2 codes. That's a really good one.
I just wanted him to be what he wanted to do, be what he wanted to be, and to find that
What? I'm sorry. What? Ian?
So he's way off. He's way off.
No, as a parent, we exposed Brandon and both Christopher to. They tried various things. They tried sports. Poor Brandon tried football. That was not. That was not a good thing.
Water polo. I tried everything.
Yeah, well, that was your choice. The water polo. He was a great catcher. Baseball. You skied, snowboard. It was like, okay, you try this. You have to have hobbies. You have to find what you want to do in life. And he went to Emerson College, which. Was a great school for you because it allowed you to do just a little bit of everything and really find your niche.
That's actually where we were talking about theater. That's actually where I went from theater into video production. Was my freshman year. The second acting got into auditioning. We actually started a
Where
workshop.
did you
Like,
go in?
here's how you audition. I was like, this is not fun at all anymore.
Yeah.
See ya. And I, like that day, went into my counselor. I was like, what do you got in video? Like, can I just be a film major? And he was like, yeah, sign a paper.
I was actually I was reading a story or something about people who grew up wanting to be an actor, and they, it's fun when you do it with your friends, and as soon as you walk into a casting agency, they're like, whoa, this is not what I like anymore. Like the second exact same thing.
And you need that. You need to have that experience if you want to be an actor. It's like you need, before you like just move out to LA, it's like, just try that. Try like performing in front of people in a small room that you don't know with them looking like very disapprovingly at you. And
I had a friend, just side story really quick, who majored in acting. He went to a pretty prominent school in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and he moved out to LA, and he thought he was hot shit. Like, he was like, I got a degree in acting. I whatever that is, whatever the degree is, he's like, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna own this place. He went into a casting agency, and they literally laughed him out the door. And they're like, you don't know shit. You might as well tear up that piece of paper. And he was like utterly humiliated. And just me personally, I think it's one of the funniest stories I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it's great.
Outstanding. So,
Humbling, very humbling.
Oh, for sure.
well, it's funny. I hear a lot of stories from actor friends. My brother's an actor. My wife's an actor. That there's a lot of famous people that landed famous roles that were really indifferent when they went in for the audition. They were just kind of like, whatever. And they went in like, okay, all right, are we done? Okay, and they left. And people were just like, I love that guy.
Yeah.
So that your friend probably went in like way too eager.
Oh, sure.
You're just like, you can smell that on people.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, this one's from
More questions about acting?
No. What was the best family vacation you guys went on, and was it Disneyland?
Had some good Disneyland trips.
I think the best family vacation that we went on when Brandon was 9 and his brother was 13, his dad was able to take a sabbatical. He was with an accounting firm, and not too many people knew about it, and so you could take a paid sabbatical. So for 3 months, the 4 of us lived in a 17-foot motorhome. That was interesting in Europe.
In New Mexico.
And we traveled all over. That's where you and Christopher learned to had your puppet skills. He's also a puppeteer. He could be a puppeteer.
You got mad puppet skills?
Mad puppet
really?
skills.
I actually know some pretty good puppeteers I can introduce you to.
Okay, cool.
Up in New York.
Well, all right.
Legit. Huge.
I've been looking to move, so great.
There you go.
But would you not agree
Okay,
that?
well, it's been fun, guys.
Would you agree that probably was not the best vacation? Family?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was.
But 3 months isn't a
huge.
vacation. That's a lifestyle change. that's
Well, we
amazing.
learned how
That's
to
a big deal.
operate as a family.
And then how not to operate, and then how to operate again.
Yes. We left LA and got to London, and immediately my husband was ready to get rolling and pack the backpacks and as I remember, you stepped on your brother's underwear. And Christopher wanted it washed right away. And I said, no, we don't wash for 5 more days. And he had a fit, and I think he hit you, and you started crying, and Christopher started crying. And I thought,
just get
what
started.
right mind was I ready to do this? But we settled in, and we had a great time. I mean, you learned how to read a map, and
remember those maps?
Yeah. And you made me keep a diary, and I hated it. You made me at the end of every night write down everything that I was doing. I was like, oh, and what a treasure that is now. And 9-year-old me, just going through giant cursive, like.
I hate my mother.
Yeah, exactly. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a fun trip.
We actually one of our guys he went back home. Sean is one of our guys at the office who went back home this past weekend, and he actually found one of his I think it was like 9 or 10, one of his books that he wrote for his first grade. So it was like 6 or 7, and I mean, this kid was straight like dumb as bricks as a kid. And we recorded this actually going through this. It's on ScrewAttack.com. It's on the front page right now. It's a .com exclusive. It's 20 minutes where you'll watch, you'll laugh, and you'll cry, and you'll think he is the dumbest kid you'll ever see. I mean, you're like, that is some like West Texas education right there.
I think one of my favorites was Rohan Rivas, who is not working at GT anymore. He's now one of the community people at Bosque, and he. I don't know what grade it was. It was like 4th or 5th grade or something, and they had to like bring something at school that really embodied them as a person. And he bought Resident Evil, just like in the cartridge. It might have been RE2, And so it's just a picture of like fifth grade Rohan like already. It's like I can't beat that. I wish I had that, man. I wonder what game I would bring in. Okay, one more question, then we gotta wrap up the show.
This one's from Buttons the Best. What was BJ scared of as a child, and where can I buy it?
What was he scared of as a child? Oh.
Any fears? Spiders, monkeys, ghosts, anything like that?
You were not fond of snakes and clowns.
Yeah.
Snakes and clowns.
Chris was freaked out
more with
than
clowns,
but
but
snakes.
you were
Snakes and
freaked
dark
out
water.
of snakes.
Nope.
Dark water, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Water you can't see the bottom of?
Oh, yeah.
I'm with you on that,
Big time.
man. I'm with you on that. I need to be able to see the
Just
bottom.
because I have like a crazy imagination. So even when I'm in like a swimming pool and like I know scientifically there's no way for a great white to be swimming underneath me in this like swimming pool, but you turn the lights off, I freak out.
I can think of the other thing that I heard about till he was 20, I think. I took you to see E.T.
Oh yeah, the horror film.
No, yeah, and here I'm a mother thinking well. You have to understand, Brandon used to sneak in and watch movies when we thought he was in bed, and he always. I mean, I just kind of threw away the book after he was born, kind of let him do whatever. But we thought you were perfectly capable of seeing, E.T. And evidently not. And I heard about that for years. How could you take
just
me
but
to
him
see
on the
this?
floor when he's all wide. Like, hell yeah! He's like, nope.
So like, I think we learned several important things. So if you want to Photoshop Brandon,
right, in dark water with ET,
swimming with snakes, clowns, and ET,
right.
That'd be outstanding.
The BJ name tag.
That's the best thing I've ever heard.
So we got through a decent amount of questions. Brad's gonna pick a couple others. We can give away 10 codes. Thank you guys. Awesome, really questions. I preferred. I dug them. Those were nice.
Yeah, that was amazing. I learned so much more about you.
Are we still going to celebrate Mother's Day, or am I?
On Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, after today, we're still celebrating Mother's Day.
We're celebrating it all week, Mom.
All right.
It's Mother's Day week. It's Mother's Week. So really quick, I just want to hype up GT. I want to talk about some cool stuff you can check on GT. We talked about the top 10 mispronounced words in video games. You can catch that this Friday. The final Bossman from a couple days ago is entitled DLC is Still Sucky. You should check that out. Huber hype. Huber's been screaming at me about Alien Isolation because he's been going through it. And so he did a video to lament the ill things that we've said about Alien Isolation on this website. Of course,
you guys don't like it?
I'm not a fan of Alien Isolation.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't really dig it.
I thought it was
it's not a bad game. I wouldn't call it a bad game. I would not go out to say Alien Isolation is a bad game. I'm just a massive Alien fan, and I got sleepy when I was playing it. I was like,
yeah,
okay.
it's like, super long. They can cut it up about a half.
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to play the whole thing to know to really like gauge like what the best parts of it were.
It was like a 7.8.
We can still be friends, okay?
Is a 7.8 your thing here? No,
yeah.
It's
there you go. You want as a fan, all right? Yeah. Mandatory update is going to be mandatory update nights this weekend. GC Time will record tomorrow as usual. Bonus round this Sunday is going to cover superhero games. I'm excited about that conversation. And we did a bunch of Just Playeds. Kyle Bossman and I talked about Chroma Squad. Ben Moore and I talked about Devil Survivor 2. Andrea Renee and I talked about the alpha for Jotun, which looks really cool. It's kind of like a Titan Souls below.
You're saying right now.
Kind of thing. It's like a Shadow of the Colossus, isometric top-down.
Okay.
Big like Viking gods that you fight and stuff. And Kyle Bossman, before last week, had never played Super Mario 64. And he played it, and we talked about it, and we relished. I know. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? It kind of just like resets a person, entirely. It's like I gotta restart with you, Kyle. I don't even know.
Right now.
I know. I don't even know where to start with Kyle Bossman.
Like I feel really.
See what you've done. See, it was 7.8. So Kyle finally played Super Mario 64. Spoiler alert, he liked it, and we talked about it, and it's an awesome game. We got 2 more streams this week. Tomorrow, Mr. Matt Blair and Mr. Mike Huber are going to continue their adventure in Shenmue. They've, from the beginning of Shenmue 1, got all the way through Shenmue 1. Now they're going through Shenmue 2, bit by bit. And our full playthrough Friday, this Friday, will be Super Mario Bros. 3, speaking of awesome Mario games, played by Mr. Kyle Bossman. That is our week, and that is GT Live. Mom, I love you. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for coming all the way out to be on the show. I know you showed up, and you're like, what the heck are we doing? But
Mom,
but
I
love
fun. You. You kidding me? This
Craig
is great, man.
I'm
Give
gonna
a
fly.
guest room. Bring the family.
Right. I'm gonna fly all the way to Texas. I'm gonna get your mom on the horn, and I'm gonna say, just meet me at the stage. We're gonna show up.
It's gonna be great.
We're gonna return the favor, Craig.
Cannot wait.
And thank you so much, Craig, for being on the show.
Are you kidding me?
Your premiere on on GT Live.
This is such an honor. Are you kidding me? This is awesome.
Well, thank
Look
you.
at this stage.
You
Look
just
at-
throw the word
Look at your
honor around like
mom.
that.
This is great. This is the best thing ever. I had so much fun over the last hour. This is great.
I mean, I'm happy about the stage. I'm proud of the stage, but
Yeah.
I'm mostly proud of this excellent mom I got over
Ah,
there. Thank you, Mr.
man.
Brad Ellis, for answering questions.
Tell you, pull those
Thank you,
heartstrings.
Ben Moore.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike
I know.
Huber. Thank you, Chad James, for sitting on the couch. What do you think of Wolfenstein, man? You digging it?
Yeah, it's
Did you
looking
play
good.
New Order?
Yeah, no, I haven't, and I really, really want to. So
And I'm happy with your progression. We started out with just a couple of pipes that we put together to open up doors, and now you're meleeing people, and I'm proud of you, Huber. I think you'll make it through it. And you haven't played it yet. When are you actually going to make time to play this game?
Hopefully tonight. I've been stuck on some other games, but hopefully tonight.
Excellent. Well, I'm happy to spoil the first hour for you. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. You can subscribe to us on the channel you're at right now on twitch.tv. You can also go to our 2 YouTube channels, Game Trailers and GT Reviews. You can visit GameTrailers.com if you want. You can visit ScrewAttack.com if you want. You can check out their YouTube channel.
Yeah, go to our YouTube channel. Also, I do want to point out all you guys on Twitch, if you guys don't have anything going on right now, you can actually go over to our Twitch channel, which we just launched, ScrewAttack TV, and it's 24/7.
That's right. I heard about that. That's great.
It's like all our videos from the last literally 10 years up till in the last month that are just going totally random. It's super fun. It's like if you ever watch stuff on Game Trailers, it's probably going to show up. We got death battles, top 10s, vaults, the whole thing, and it's super fun. It's twitch.tv/ScrewAttack.
You just put that on when you go to bed and just
Dude,
puts
like
you to sleep.
for me personally, like it's very much a time machine. I watch things and I'm like, when did we? Oh my God, that happened. And 10 years worth of content.
See, I prefer to leave some of that stuff that GT's done in the past. It's just
There
like,
was,
yeah, we're good.
oh man, there was something that was aired the other day. I was like, that's literally never aired before. It was one of these things that like we made just to goof around, and somehow it made it on the stream, and I was like, oh no, like as it was happening, this shouldn't be seen. This is bad. So, anyways, it's crazy.
Mom, you
So-
got anything you want to plug? Mother's Day?
No, nothing.
Hey, you want to plug
You got any
Mother's Day,
stand- you got any
Mom?
stand-up
Be good to
appearances
your
happening?
moms.
Yeah, be nice to your moms, everybody. Mother's Day is this Sunday. Do something nice for your mom. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Huber. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Secret area.
What?
Out of nowhere, found a secret.
We're done. See you next week.